All right, this lesson's on congruent chords and arcs. So if you guys remember from that vocabulary cheat sheet that I gave you guys at the beginning of the circle unit, a chord just goes from one endpoint on the circle to the other endpoint. So like in this case, AB is a chord and CD is a chord. All right, so here we go. First bullet, two chords, these guys right here, are congruent if and only if their corresponding arcs are congruent. So in other words, if this arc is congruent to this arc, then these guys' chords are congruent. So AB is equal to CD if the measure of arc AB is equal to the measure of arc CD. So if arcs are congruent, chords are congruent. If chords are congruent, arcs are congruent. B, they are equidistant. Equidistant from the center. So in other words, if this chord is equidistant from the center and this chord is equidistant from the center, then I can say this. AB equals CD. And then I can say EF is equal to EG. So one more time. If these two pieces are the same distance, then my chords are congruent, vice versa. If my chords are congruent, then these two pieces right here are also congruent. So a lot of things match up to be congruent in this congruent chords arcs piece. Last one, if a diameter or radius is perpendicular, it's just symbol for perpendicular, to a chord, so right here, check us out, guys. If they are perpendicular to the chord, then it bisects the chord and its arc. Okay, so check us out. If these two pieces are perpendicular and congruent, then it cuts these in half, and it also cuts the arc in half. All right? So its symbols, if segment EH right here is perpendicular to this chord AB, then AF, this piece right here, is going to be equal to that piece right there, FB. And the two arcs are congruent. Measure of arc AH is equal to the measure of arc HB. If it appears congruent in this lesson, guys, it mostly is going to be congruent. Just kind of a little fallback thing you can think about. All right, some problems. Number one, find X. All right. If chords are congruent, I know arcs are congruent. So that piece is congruent. That piece that I'm equal, solve for X. 7X plus 24 is 115. Subtract 24, 7X is 91. Divide by 7, 13. Number two, if arcs are congruent, chords are congruent. Set them equal. 18x minus 2 is 52. Add the 2 over. Divide by 18. That goes in there 3 times. Same thing here. If arcs are congruent, chords are congruent. Set them equal. 9x minus 34 is 4x plus 1. Subtract the 4x over. Add 34 over. Divide by 5. X is 7. But then it wants xy, right? So I got to plug it back into xy right there. That comes out to be 29. Number 4, if chords are congruent, arcs are congruent, set them equal. 11x minus 72 is 5x plus 6. Subtract the 5x over. Add 72. 6 goes in there 13 times. It wants the measure of arc R to S. Plug it in right there. That comes out to be 71 degrees. A little bit of work on number 5. All right. Chords congruent, arcs congruent, right? Well, the problem is this. I don't know the measurement of this arc over here, so I got to figure it out. I know I've got 360 in a circle, right? So if I want to figure out what's left for this piece right here, a couple ways I can do it. Here's one way. I'm going to take 360, total in a circle, subtract off the 76. That leaves me with 284 for both these pieces. Well, I know they're congruent, right? So to get each of these pieces, I'm just going to divide that 284 by 2. 142. So this guy's 142. This guy's 142. Oh, here we go. Set the expression equal to 142. Add the 20 over 162. Divide that by 6. Comes out to be 27. All right, number 6. MP is, okay, so check it out. Arcs congruent means chords are congruent, which means the connecting pieces are also congruent. So this piece is congruent to that piece. So directions, you got MP and you got PN, right? Set them equal, then we got to plug it back into MP. So 5x minus 34 is 2x minus 4. Subtract the 2x over. Add 34. Sorry, that gives me 30, not 38. Divide by 3. X is 10, but I got to plug it back into MP right there. That gives me 16. All right, here we go. Connecting pieces are perpendicular congruent. That means these chords are also congruent. Directions, you're talking about DE. You're also talking about FG. Set them equal, then plug it back into DE. 11x plus 15 is 32x minus 27. I'll subtract the 11x over. So 15 is 21x minus 27. Add 27 over, gives me 42. 21 goes in there 2 times. Plugging it back into DE, that comes out to be 37. Number 8, your job is to find MP, right? All right, well, check this out. Connecting pieces are perpendicular congruent, which means my chords are congruent, which means my arcs are congruent. So these guys equal, and then I got to find this distance right here. We'll get there. 9x minus 43 is 5x plus 33. Subtract the 5x over. Add 43 over. 4x is 76. 4 goes in there 19 times. Okay, here's the problem. I'm going to plug it back into both of these right here. I know I have 360 in a circle. So when I do that, I'll plug it in here, see what I get, and I'll subtract from 360 to get what's left for MP, right? All right, so when I do that, this piece comes out to be 128. This piece also comes out to be 128. So here's the deal. If I add these up and subtract from 360, MP comes out to be 104. That is your answer. Number 9. All right, gives you some information. In circle Z, RS is 18. So this from here to here is 18. Measure of arc TY is 42. Find each measure. All right, so here we go. Let's do some of this. If RS is 18, those are each 9, right? Which means these are 9, 42, 42, 42, 42, and all kinds of good stuff. All right, T to V, 9. T to U, all this, well, 9 plus 9 would be 18. W to S, 9. Measure of arc YU, all of this, right? So this is 42. That's 42. 42, 42. I'm sorry, just YTU is 42. Got ahead of myself. And then RS, right? Each of these are 42. Add them up, 84. Pretty easy, right? All of this is congruent to all of this down here. Same exact measurements. 10, very similar. B to G is 17. So all of these little pieces of the chord are 17. So I'll just do one so it doesn't get too messy. 17, 17, 17, 17. Arc C to H to A. So all of this is 256. So all of this is 250. Now let's do some work here, right? I've got two little more arcs over here that I got to figure out. I'm going to take 360 minus this and then divide by 2 to get this arc and to get that arc. So 360 minus the 256 gives me 104. Now I'm going to divide that by 2 to get both of these arcs right here. That gives me 52. So all of this arc, 52. All of that arc, 52. To answer the questions. B to C, just did it, 52. I'm sorry, B to C, 17 plus 17 is 34. F to B, just half of this chord, 17. Arc AB, here we go. Arc AB, all of that, 52. B to C, same thing, 52. And then arc E to C, just half of that 52 right there, that'd be 26. All right, directions, we're talking about QM, this piece right here. We're talking about MR, this piece right here. They're equal. If the connecting pieces are perpendicular and congruent, means my arcs are congruent. So these two pieces are equal to each other. All right, set them equal and we'll solve. 6x minus 11 is 2x plus 9. Subtract the 2x over. Add the 11. 4 goes into 20, 5 times. All right, it wants MN. So here's what I can do. I'm going to plug it into MR, which is right here, right? And I'll times that by 2 to get the entire piece right here. So plugging it in here and then multiplying by 2, M to N is 38. Plug it into MR, multiply by 2. That's how I got 38. Okay, 12, we're talking about arc CI, that piece right there. We're talking about arc EF, all of that. Those aren't equal. However, if I double this guy right here, right, then I can set them equal, right? So if I double this, then I can set it equal to this. That's my equation. So 2 times 7x minus 15 equals 12x minus 8. Distribute your 2. 14x minus 30 is 12x minus 8. Subtract 12x over. Add 30 over. 2 goes in there 11 times. But I got to find CI. So take your 11, plug it right back into there. That comes out to be 62 degrees. All right, some tricky ones down here. 13 says, I want you to find VW. Well, check this out. You have a right triangle right there, right? Well, I can find this piece right here. Then I can double it to get the whole thing. It's Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared plus b squared, we'll call this x right here, plus x squared equals 13 squared. X squared plus 5 squared is 13 squared. Subtract over 5 squared to get 144 square roots. Now, if this piece is 12, this piece is also 12. So 12 and 12, v to w would have to be then 24. Find arc YW. All right, so I got to find arc YW, right? Well, I know this. Central angle is the same thing as this arc right here. Trig, go back to last chapter, guys. If I label the pieces, here's the angle that I'm working from. I'll put a dot there. Across 90's hypotenuse. The leg right next to you is adjacent. If you have the A and the H to work with, remember, that's cosine. So for my equation over here, cosine of the unknown angle, I don't know, equals adjacent 5 over hypotenuse 13. To solve, remember, if you find an angle, it's inverse. Cancel there, bring down the x. So in the calculators, inverse cosine of 5 divided by 13, that comes out to be 67.4 degrees. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Had to use some prior knowledge there. Last one. We've got some directions here. Find pH. Find this piece right here. All right. Let's see what information we have here. H to K. There's K. H to K right here. This is 30. So this whole thing is 30. Each of these have to be 15. P to M is 8, which means this is also 8 right there, right? We can do this. Here is your triangle. Here's your 90. I'll highlight it for you. But you have a right triangle, right? The 8 and the 15 are your legs, and this guy is your hypotenuse. So 8 squared plus 15 squared equals hypotenuse squared. 8 squared plus 15 squared is hypotenuse squared. Left side adds up to 289. Square root that, 17. So P to H is 17. Not too bad there. Find measure of arc G to J. I got to find all of this right here. Okay, we got a little bit of work here. So first, I am going to find, just like on number 14, this angle right here. I'll show you why in a second here, okay? But remember, the leg next to me would be adjacent, and I have the hypotenuse over here. If I have the I'm sorry, not the hypotenuse over here. This would be your opposite leg. My bad. Hypotenuse is this piece. Here's your 90. That's your hypotenuse. The leg next to me is adjacent. The leg across from me is opposite. So if you have the A and the O, or the O and the A to work with, you're going to use tangent. So here we go. Tangent of the unknown angle equals opposite 15 over adjacent leg 8. So inverse tangent, both sides. Cancel there. That comes out to be 61.9 degrees. So check us out. Our original job was to find G to J. All of this, right? Okay. Well, I've got 61.9 right here. I know this angle is the same as that angle, so I have another 61.9 right there. Arc degree is same as central angle. So if I take 61.9 plus the 61.9, I will have this guy right here. And that comes out to be measure of arc GJ is, add them up, 123.9 approximately. Approximately 123.9 if you do it correctly. That is it for congruent arcs and chords.